Well, we're here at our favorite spot. We did a show a few years ago, and this place has grown and done so well now. New exhibits, exciting exhibits. And this is probably the jewel in the Akron area, as Summit County area, Northeast Ohio area. Did I cover everything? Maybe Ohio.
I would say the United States.
Okay, the United States. And this big guy next to me is one of the guys that really pushed and made this thing possible. Dave Barnhardt. Dave, it's a pleasure seeing you again.
Always good to see you. Thanks for coming back out.
Okay, and first let's explain this sign back here.
This is the Barnhardt Family Welcome Center, and my father worked here most of his life, and my grandfather actually was one of the founders of the zoo. So I am third generation, and very blessed and honored to have been a part of the growth here at the zoo.
Dave, one of the feature attractions, somebody told me that you wrestle the bears.
I would never do that, never do that.
You'd be big enough to do it without a gun, Dave, could you take us over here and explain what this is?
Yeah, actually this year marks our 60th anniversary the Akron Zoo has been here. We opened up back in 1953, and as you can imagine, it was much different back then. So this board over here right in front of the Welcome Center kind of allows people to go down memory lane and see some of the changes, and it's neat to see some of the folks coming in who maybe remember Joe Coco, the chimp that was here back in 1957, or Monkey Island that's no longer here. I mean, it just really takes you all the way to present day and up to Grizzly Ridge that we just opened up a little over a month ago. So a lot of history, a lot of things have transpired. It always hasn't been a fun ride here at the zoo. It's been a little bit of a bumpy ride through the decades, but we've sustained and we've made it. And with the support of the community, we are now in great shape.
Dave, that was a great introduction for us. Now, I'm a tourist. I walked in here, and can you show me everything of interest? Okay? And one thing, let's try to get Ray in there with the grizzly bears, okay?
I don't think that would be the best idea.
No, wouldn't? Well, I thought it'd be a lot of fun. I'd handle the camera and then watch him run.
That would be his last hurrah.
Ray is our photographer, producer, director, and the whole shot. And also chief hollerer.
Well, you better keep him around then. He sounds pretty valuable.
Okay, very good. He's a one-man gang. Okay, now we're going to go ahead inside, and you're going to give us the guided tour.
There's a lot to see and do, so let's go see the zoo.
Very good. Away we go. Well, Dave, in just a second you can tell us where we are, and you see some of these in the upscale restaurants, but they got lobsters in them. Now, confess, is this where you guys get some of the stuff for your lunchroom out there?
Absolutely not. We are in the Journey to the Reef exhibit. This exhibit opened just a couple years ago, and it's been one of our most popular exhibits here at the zoo. When people walk through this exhibit, they'll see some under the sea wildlife that they've maybe never seen before. Right behind us, we have some lionfish. There's a lot of jellyfish throughout this area. The octopus is in here. We have a touch tank where people can actually touch stingrays. So a lot of fascinating things to see in this area.
Now, you got an octopus here, right? You're going to have a naming contest? Okay, do you have any suggestions?
Well, we just started a naming contest for it, so we're definitely open to suggestions. We invite everybody to go on akronzoo.org and submit their favorite name, and then we'll pick a winner.
Can I submit one verbally?
Sure, we'll take your suggestion.
Okay, my suggestion is Ray, our cameraman, because he fits right in because he has so many different jobs. So he's got about 6 arms on all the jobs he's doing. So how does that sound?
It's almost like he's an octopus, huh, with all the things he juggles.
Absolutely. Okay, take us to the next exhibit. Do you want to point out some of these fish here?
Sure. Well, right here we have the lionfish, and they are venomous fish. We have a puffer fish and different fish floating through this area, this tank. And it's really neat to see all these fish in here together swimming as they would be in the ocean.
Well, Dave, how long did it take you to dive under and catch these?
These actually fish were all captive born, and they were moved here to the Akron Zoo. And it really takes a lot. I mean, there's a great balance that goes in with maintaining these fish, and we have some great keepers on staff that are able to pull this whole thing off with the jellyfish and the octopus, and they really do a great job for us.
Well, they really have to know what they're doing. In fact, my granddaughter just started college. Her major is anthropology. And maybe we can bring her over here one day and she could do some volunteering. But I better talk to her first. Let's go on to the next exhibit. Now, what is this little guy here? He's looking at you and his mouth is going open. Boy, he may think there's dinner.
Hopefully not. In this tank we have several different types of eels. You got to look carefully because they blend in really well with the reef system we have set up here. But there's one down here, there's one up here, there's the more you look, the more you'll find. And this is just one of the 10 or so tanks we have in this Journey to the Reef exhibit. And again, it kind of gives you a glimpse of what kind of is in the ocean when you're out there swimming.
Is that an eel up there?
Yes, it is. These are eels. There's some smaller fish in here, but for the most part, there's several eels. There's one that's kind of hard to see back there, a purple mouth eel, and there's another one up here. So a lot of different kinds of animals to see here in the reef exhibit.
For protection, they blend in, don't they, to their environment?
They really do. It's really kind of hard to see them, and they'll hold still, and their prey will swim right by them, and then they'll come up and grab them, and that's how they prey on the fish.
Do you put anything live in here to keep them busy?
We do sometimes. There's other small fish in here, so yeah, they certainly get a healthy dose of their food.
It's very interesting. Okay, our next one. Even animals or fish people and octopuses, people live under, they all have names and personalities. And your octopus doesn't have a name right now.
It does not. We actually have started a naming contest on our website at akronzoo.org, and we invite people to come out and submit their favorite name. Our keepers will then take all those names and look over them, and they'll pick their favorite 3, and then we'll actually put the names into the exhibit and let the octopus choose its own name. We did that once before, and it worked really well. We wrote the name on some wiffle balls, dropped them into the tank, and the octopus actually opened a jar, reached in, grabbed one, and pulled it out. And our last octopus that we had here was named Cora, and she had passed away. She was quite old and passed away, and so now we got a new octopus, and we'll have hopefully a new name here shortly.
Choose her own then. Is it she or he?
It's a female octopus this time too.
Well, that is interesting. Now, what is the plural? Is it octopi or octopuses, if you have 2 of them?
Octopi.
Octopi. Okay, we got that straightened out, Ray. Okay, let's go on to the next one. This is really the star of your show whenever she comes out, though.
Yeah, really, the octopus, since this exhibit opened a couple years ago, the octopus has definitely been the headliner, and, it's just a really fascinating creature that you're not going to probably see otherwise, but we have an opportunity to see here at the zoo. How
big do they get?
They'll get, upwards to 20-ish pounds. This one's still pretty young, so it's, not as big. But they can get a lot bigger, but on average they'll be about 20 pounds or so.
So we have to disregard the movies where they come up and grab a ship and all of that?
Yeah, those are just movies.
Just movies? Thank heaven you told me that. I've been worried about that.
You can sleep well tonight.
Okay, I sure will. Okay, Dave, can you tell us about this exhibit?
Well, this is our rainforest exhibit, and there's a lot going on in this exhibit. We kind of show the different layers of the rainforest. There you see under the water, we have some freshwater stingrays. We have some cichlids and some fish. Down there we have some turtles swimming in there. Then you go up to the next layer and you'll see some birds flying around. We have some tanagers and things like that in there. And then you look even deeper and you see one moving kind of in the back. We have little primates called golden lion tamarins. So a lot of different things going on in this exhibit, just as it would be in the rainforest itself.
Now, are all these bred in captivity or out in the wild?
No, these are all bred in captivity. We don't go out into the Amazon rainforest and grab animals out of the wild and bring them into the zoo. All these animals were born here and either here or at another zoo and brought here.
Gosh, I thought that's what you did in your spare time on your weekends.
No,
You
No,
don't?
no wrestling animals in the wild.
They're not going to call you Jungle Dave, right?
No, no. We'll leave that up to others.
Okay. Okay, that's very interesting. The idea that you got the different levels of the rainforest. Okay, let's move on to the next one. I'm an interested tourist now. Well, really interested.
Well, good. That's what we want.
You're doing a great job. Okay, Dave, this is a trip back into the past. Could you tell us what we have here?
This is our conservation carousel. It came to us in 2010, and it was actually, all these animals are wood animals. They were hand carved, and there's a place in Mansfield called Carousel Works, and they made our carousel for us and brought it up here and assembled it here at the zoo. And since 2010, I can't even tell you how many people have ridden this ride. They have thoroughly enjoyed going on the carousel.
Now, no sense asking the cost is probably a lot, right? But they do for other museums also?
The Carousel Works actually is the only place in the entire country that makes wood hand-carved carousel animals, and they make them for most of the zoos in the country. They have done work from coast to coast. They have done work overseas. So, you know, really for us being that close, about an hour away, it was a no-brainer for us to go with Carousel Works.
You know, years ago, one of my old customers in the flying business bought about 6 original ones, and he paid $6,000 a piece.
Wow, I bet they're worth a lot today. You know, carousels are one of those things that just stand the test of time. It doesn't matter if, you know, you're a senior citizen, they have memories about riding the carousel, or as you're little as some of these kids taking your first carousel ride. Everybody has a story and a memory about a carousel.
You know where the guy hung them? Up in his living room.
I'll be darned. That would have been a sight to see.
Yeah, his living room was big.
Yeah, it would have to be.
A very wealthy guy. Well, this is great. Do you ride this, you know, when the people are gone and the lights are going off and you've had this urge to just get in there and jump on one of these horses and ride it?
You know, my first carousel ride on this carousel was about the day after they assembled it, and I got on there, and the only animal was left at the time, because the staff was riding it, was the ladybug, which happened to be the smallest animal. So I rode the ladybug, was my first ride on this carousel.
Did you wear a helmet, goggles? You're a test pilot then.
I could barely fit myself up on the ladybug, but I held onto the pole tight and had a great ride.
Well, we thought maybe you snuck over here and did this. Do you still sneak over and get a ride every now and then?
Absolutely. Who doesn't want to ride a carousel?
Okay, Ray, who doesn't want to ride? You want to hop on one? We'll get you. Okay, he shook his head no. Okay, Dave, hey, that's a great story. Let's move on to the next one now.
All righty, here we go. The grizzly bears, the red wolves, otters, so we'll talk about all of that.
Okay, let us know when you're ready.
I'm running.
How many birds do you see?
Okay, Dave, can you tell us about this exhibit and where we are now?
Absolutely. We are actually standing at the first exhibit in the new Grizzly Ridge exhibit here at the Akron Zoo. This exhibit opened July 20th of 2013. It was our largest expansion in the history of the Akron Zoo. It includes several exhibits like the bald eagles we're seeing here, the aviary, the grizzly bears, the red wolves, the otters, which we'll all see today. And this exhibit, there's 5 beagles in this exhibit, and 2 of them are actually juveniles. 2 of them, if you notice, they don't have the white head feathers, and those are the juveniles. They'll get their head feathers in about a year or 2. But there's one, you know, bald eagle distinctly perched up on the limb up top there, high, and there's 5 bald eagles in here, which is really neat.
He looks like the boss up there, doesn't he?
He does. He's sitting there kind of watching over everything and making sure everything is going as it should and everybody's behaving.
Now, how do you keep them from flying away?
These eagles were actually injured in the wild and given to us, and so unfortunately they could not be re-released. Some have wing injuries and maybe only one wing, so certainly they can't be put back in the wild. They couldn't defend themselves, so they were brought to places like the Akron Zoo.
So actually they can't fly, but they can hop pretty good?
Yeah, they can get around and they can get up, you know, climb up that tree and stuff, but they just wouldn't be able to spread their wings, unfortunately, and fly anymore.
You know, years ago, at an Air Force base or Air Corps base during World War II, training base and all, there's a colonel that was really a tough guy. And he had captured a bird and had it in a cage. He referred to it, I'm an eagle like him. Nobody dared tell him that was a buzzard.
Oh, jeez.
So anyway, they got away with it. They let him have his dream. And this all encompasses Grizzly Ridge.
Yep, this is the first of the several exhibits that we'll see here in Grizzly Ridge. And yeah, it's been very well received since we've opened.
Okay, let's move on now and get a good look at Grizzly Ridge. Now, how long has this been open?
This opened July 20th of this year, so it hasn't been open very long now.
Great. Boy, I'm getting a great tour here. I'm learning a lot. I'm learning not to get into a cage with the Komodos or the Grizzlies.
Yeah, you want to stay out of those areas, definitely.
Right. Okay, Ray, we're ready to go. Dave, what do we have here?
Well, we are in our aviary right now, and this is an area where people can walk in and birds are free flying all around us. The neat thing about this aviary is these are all birds that you can find in your backyard. So when people walk in, they'll be able to grab an ID sheet and they'll walk through, and you really got to hunt for them. You got to look, and there's one even right up there that we didn't even notice it when we first came in, but when you look closer, you'll see you can ID them on your sheet and then learn about them and what kind of bird they are, and then go home in your backyard and you'll be able to ID birds. So it's a really neat bird watching experience here at the Akron Zoo.
Now I know what you do on the weekends. You run around with a net looking for these guys.
trying to ID birds. It's really fascinating to see, even the little kids come in here and say there's one, and look on their sheet, and they didn't know what type of bird that was before they got here, and when they leave they know.
Great. It's an educational process also.
A very peaceful place here at the zoo. It's very quiet and peaceful.
And they can't escape.
Nope, they're all enclosed, and it's a lot of just if you kind of stand here and listen to the sounds of the birds, it's really neat sounds.
Have you ever had an occasion where the birds all got together and decided, hey, let's blow this joint?
Luckily, we have not had any escapees.
They must like it. Oh, look at him.
Oh, there's a blue jay right in front of us there. Right on the feeder there, and we've strategically placed those feeders near people so they can come in, and see the birds up close. And some people will walk in here and they look around and don't see much and they walk out. But if you stay here for a couple minutes, you actually get to see some pretty cool animals. One just flew by us there, so fast we barely saw it.
Yeah, well, real quick. Now, blue jays are supposed to have bad tempers. Is that true?
I do not know that. I'm not sure about that. I would have to research that.
Okay, well, let's proceed on to the next one. This is getting more interesting all the time. You're giving me the $20 tour, right?
Yep, at least the penny tour.
Will the bill be in the mail?
We'll invoice you.
Okay, and the check will be in the mail too.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Here's the retention pond. And a great view of the complex.
Dave, can you tell us this while he's running?
Sure, absolutely. This area, Grizzly Ridge, is built on a hillside here, which is definitely to our advantage. There's some nice landscaping up here, but it also presents a little bit of a problem in the fact that we are on a hillside and we might have some water runoff. So to capture that water, we do have the retention pond right down here that we were taking a look at, and that gathers all the water coming off this hillside here and holds it and drains it very slowly, so we don't have the washouts or the water running down the hill and through different exhibits and buildings and things like that. This area, Grizzly Ridge, is also a very green area. We have a lot of rain barrels in this area that we will actually take the water and reuse in horticulture. We have a green roof on top of the bear exhibit. A lot of reusable and recycled materials in this exhibit. So definitely our mission of green, we definitely speak throughout this exhibit.
Now, who designed all this, and who's responsible? You for putting it?
No, I can't take any credit for that.
You can't? Oh boy.
As much as I would like to, because it's a beautiful area. How we kind of come up with the concept, first thing we do is we talk to the citizens of Summit County and say, what kind of would you like here at your Akron Zoo? And one of the things we kept hearing are animals indigenous to Ohio. So we did some research and came up with some animals that are from this area, like the bald eagles and otters, and then animals like the grizzly bear and red wolves that maybe were from this area 5 or 10,000 years ago. And so we put this whole collection of animals together. We worked with other zoos and aquariums to acquire the animals, and then we worked with local architects and local construction companies, which is very important to us. And a local architect by the name of Stadvec Architects designed this whole area and just did a fabulous job.
Well, he sure did. It's beautiful.
Yeah, you know, there's a great balance. We need to keep the animals comfortable. We need to make sure the people can see the animals and enjoy the space. So a lot goes into designing something like this, and it took well over 2 years for this project to come to fruition.
You guys have done you're still doing a great job. Okay, what is next? What can you do to top what you've done?
Well, next, the next thing we're going to see is the grizzly bears.
I mean, as far as you guys promoting this thing or adding to it?
Our next expansion plans, we're kind of in the mode right now of gathering that feedback and going out in the community and asking what people would like to see at their Akron Zoo. And they'll really drive the train, so to speak, in our next project that comes up here in the next couple of years.
Now, I think a lot of people around here would love to see a winning team with the Cleveland Browns. Would that be a good exhibit for you?
We can build animal exhibits, but we can't work miracles.
Okay, okay. That's a good response. Evidently, you're a football fan.
Browns, Indians, Cavs, die hard. Win or lose.
Win or lose. Okay, thank you.
You're on.
Okay, Dave, could you tell us where we are now?
We are at our grizzly bear exhibit, and Jackson and Cheyenne are our grizzly bears here at the Akron Zoo that you see in the background there, and they're about 2 years old, so they are young. They're right around 300 pounds, give or take a little bit, and they will get 600, 700, 800 pounds, so they've got a lot of growing to do.
Well, you got them in Wyoming. What part of Wyoming?
We got them from Wyoming, as you said. I'm not sure the exact location, and we brought them when they were orphaned in the wild. We brought them to this area, and at the time our exhibit was not done, so we worked with the Cleveland Zoo, and the Cleveland Zoo actually held them for us for the last couple years. And when this exhibit was done, then we moved them, just had a short ride down from Cleveland Zoo to Akron, and here they are in their permanent home.
Now, what's their lifespan?
Grizzly bears can live quite a long time. These guys will be around for a long time. As I said, they're only about 2 years old, so they are juveniles, and they've got a lot of growing to do.
That's amazing. Those guys are mean too, aren't they?
They can be pretty aggressive. This is Jackson and Cheyenne. They are a brother and sister pair, and they actually, especially first thing in the morning, will come right out and get in their water, and they will play quite a bit like siblings do. And this exhibit is a huge exhibit. Great for them to explore in. There's some fallen trees in there. There's for them to climb on. There's the water, of course. There's the grass. There's the bear den. So a lot for them to do in this entire exhibit.
Is that the extent of the compound there, back to the beyond the trees?
Yeah, the tree line here, and then their exhibit goes all the way to the right, and they have a huge area, over 17,000 square feet.
That's great. It's an amazing exhibit. You know, a lot of people say that soon, I don't know how soon, but they claim the only place we'll be able to see some of these animals are in the zoo.
Absolutely. You know, for a lot of these animals, this becomes a last refuge for them. There's a lot of critically endangered animals here at the Akron Zoo, like the tigers and the Humboldt penguins, the red wolves that we have in this area. And unfortunately, there's a lot of problems in the wild and the challenges that they face. And so we bring them here to the Akron Zoo to make sure that these animals don't become extinct. And zoos, you know, across the country have great breeding programs. We are an accredited zoo through the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. So you make sure you always want to, when you're out visiting zoos, visit an accredited zoo. Puts us as one of the top zoos in the country.
Well, now, you talk about breeding. Does every zoo have their own breeding program?
It actually is all connected through the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. A great case of that is our snow leopards that were born here a couple years ago. We need a breeding recommendation. We just can't breed animals. We need a breeding recommendation. These animals come to the Akron Zoo to breed. And then, you know, the keepers work with them. And once they have cubs, then like the snow leopards did a couple years ago, they actually then are matched up and paired up to other zoos to hopefully breed again. So it's done, with genetics in mind, and it's kind of like a huge matchmaking game that somebody has to put together and make sure these animals are not becoming extinct.
Now, who looks after the welfare? Do you have a veterinarian on the staff?
We have a full vet staff. Dr. Kim Cook is our vet, and she does a wonderful job. We have a couple of vet techs here. We have a hospital manager, so we have a full operating hospital right here on site. And then we have, a large keeping staff, that animal keepers that know these animals very well and take care of them.
Or amazing organization. Well, let's move on to the next exhibit. Boy, I'm really getting the first-class tourist here.
Well, yeah, we're going to go see the otters.
Okay, let's go see the otters. Now, Dave, don't take 2 steps back. You may become one of the exhibits yourself.
There's glass here, so hopefully I won't end up in the water.
Okay. Can you tell us about this exhibit?
Yeah, this is the otter exhibit. We have 2 otters. They have a lot to do in this exhibit also. They have the underwater viewing right behind us. They can swim underwater. They are able to go up on land. They have a little stream in their exhibit that they can explore in. And then there's a really neat thing for kids to do. It's only the 3rd zoo in the country to have the otter slide. It is a fully enclosed tube that kids can go on the top of this exhibit and actually slide down right through the exhibit and go underwater with the otters swimming around them.
The otters don't go down with them.
No, they stay in the water and the kids go the tube goes right underwater, and it's just a fascinating experience for kids.
Okay, can you tell us about what's up here on top?
This exhibit was sponsored by the Orr Foundation. The Orr Foundation is a very philanthropic foundation here in Akron. One of the other big projects they did several large projects here at the zoo, and this otter exhibit was one of the largest projects they've done. And certainly without grants and foundations and individuals like the Orr Foundation, we would not be able to have a great zoo here in Akron. So we certainly applaud the efforts of everybody that support the zoo.
Weren't they in the trucking business, a major trucking outfit, or trucking?
I'm not sure.
I believe that rings a bell, that there was an outfit like that in town.
Yeah.
Okay, well, can you talk otter?
I do not speak otter. No, I do
You don't
not.
speak otter? I hear we thought you did.
No.
You're going to yell and bring them out here.
No, I can't speak otter, but I wish I was an otter because they've got a great exhibit.
They got a great life, All they got to do is swim around all day, take a nap, and free room and board for life.
Yep, they get fed well here at the zoo, and a lot to do in their exhibit.
And they get to show off.
Yeah, they love to show off.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. Dave, this is the Red Wolf exhibit, and it looks like a forest by itself.
Yeah, it's a large exhibit, again, at the zoo. We have 2 viewing windows since it's so large for people to see the red wolves. And the red wolves are one of those endangered species that are, critically endangered. And we're, working as hard as we can to make sure that they do not become extinct. So we're really excited and proud to have them here at the Akron Zoo.
Do you breed them here too, or?
We are not breeding this pair. We may down the road with different animals, but we're not breeding this current pair.
Where did these come from?
These red wolves came from the Miller Park Zoo in Illinois, from another zoo that we got them from, and they've been part of Grizzly Ridge since it opened, and we're really excited.
Where are they from? What's their home habitat?
All these animals that you see in here at one time were indigenous to Ohio, actually. The red wolves or the grizzly bears might have been 5,000 or 10,000 years ago, but at one time they are indigenous to this area. Now more southern, the Carolinas, down towards more of the South Range.
And they're still out in the wild, though?
Yeah, they are still out, but again, they are critically endangered, so there's not many of them left at all.
You guys are doing a great work to preserve them, then. That's wonderful. Well, let's proceed on.
All righty, here we go.
Now, how far does it go?
It goes just around this area here. Yep.
Not up the hill?
No.
gave me to y'all, dude. We were just like, oh, stab. Yeah. Need me to get the overalls? We're gonna go down the outer side, not just stop in the middle of the cave behind you. And Christine would be laughing, you'd have no idea what I was doing. The otters are out, aren't they?
Daddy, now let's make this one.
No, we went that way, buddy.
Dave, could you tell us about
Sure,
the train when Dave's going to explain this when he comes. Okay, go ahead, Dave.
This is our train ride here in farmland. We renovated this area a couple years ago and added the solar-powered train. So it's a very unique train ride that we have here at the zoo. And when people get to go through, they get to tell them a little bit about the farmland area and the area that they're in. And of course, in the farmland, kids can feed the goats and buy crackers and get goat slobber all over their hands and have a real up-close experience.
Do you ever drive this?
I have never driven the train. I just ride it, just ride in the back car.
Well, they keep you off of driving because you probably do wheelies or try to do wheelies.
I leave that up to the experts like Shirley there who's driving the train today, and she does a fabulous job.
Well, that's really an attraction. I bet the kids love that.
They do. You know, certainly one thing we heard is they want more experiences here at the zoo, and so the train ride, the carousel ride are all just great examples of more experiences.
It is. You guys are really creative here. Great tour. Thank you so much. Well, we want to thank Dave Barnhardt, the master of everything here. He gave me his title. I've already forgotten it, but I know it was a lot of things he does with media, right? That's mainly what you do?
Yep, Director of Marketing and Guest Services here at the Akron Zoo.
Well, that's a big title.
We believe in big titles here.
How do you get it all on your door?
Well, not even on my door.
Not even, oh my, you're incognito, huh?
Yep.
I wanted to ask you a question. Now, on Fridays, you serve fish here, right?
No.
You don't serve fish in the lunchroom? Because I was going to think if all the fish in the exhibits start hiding.
No. But we do have a full-service cafe, and we serve, lunch every day.
But no fish on Fridays.
No fish on Fridays.
Because I was going to try to find out where you get the fish.
Not from the zoo.
Not from the zoo. Okay. Thanks again. We really appreciate your time and giving us the tour.
My pleasure. It's always great to have you guys out.
Okay, David. We always use this old saw here that if Hollywood calls you, Ray and I want 15%.
Now, earlier you said 10. Now you're upping it to 15.
Oh, yeah, inflation.
Well, I'll have my agent call you.
Okay.